What up? So 19 more days and I'll have 1 year. 19. Man, if I don't keep track, it flies. So not keeping track is awesome. I just had a great meeting today. I really love my home group. I love going to it. I love that I'm of service to it. I love that I can just kind of unload. I feel freeing right now. I've had some stuff go on. You know, if you've watched any of the last couple of videos, you can tell I've had some things go on. I've shared about it in these. I really like that I do that. I'm really grateful that I have this platform to just get shit off my chest, and it's my journal. At the same time, I post it on the internet, so it becomes, you know, it becomes one of those things. It's like an ongoing inventory. I don't have a lot of like built up stuff. I found out recently that somebody that I cared about is not doing well, and I was struggling with that, and I kind of, you know, prayed for them, and, you know, I also asked my higher power to help them, and it's my way of like, it's my little way of like being of service, and it may or may not do something for them, but I do hope they're doing okay. At the same time, I've got somebody else that like is going through some things, and, you know, I was able to be of service there, and I just, you know, I'm coming up on less than 20 days and I'll have a year. And I'm doing things, you know, like my recovery is strong, I believe. My connection to my higher power, God, is strong. I listened to a really good sermon this morning. I got to see the ocean today, and I got to hear it. Nature, you know, what this planet has to offer, from the sound of, so in this year I've got to hear now the ocean, I've got to hear rapids, I've got to hear what it sounds like on top of a mountain, or at least, you know, halfway up the mountain, and streams. I really like the sound of streams. I really like the sound of running water. You know, nature's provided, right? I love the sound of nature. I love the sound of rain. I love the sound of it all, and it's all part of a higher power as well. And today's Just for Today was about prayer and meditation, and I meditated today. You know, I put on some yoga singing bowls and I meditated, and the voice that popped into my head was like, hey, reach out to this person, and that person. And even if they don't answer, at least you're letting them know that you care about them. It's something that I would want. It's something I wanted done for me, that when I was in my active addiction, and I'm not saying these people are, but when I was in my active addiction, it was the one thing that like I was really grateful for. That, you know, certain people reached out to me, even if I didn't call them back, even if I didn't reach out back. It was like, fuck, somebody at least cares about me. And so I want to be of service to others, and so I'm really grateful that I did that. And I'm really grateful for this program, and I'm really grateful that, like, you know, my daughter reached out to me, and she was really happy that we talked. And she said, I like hearing one of my kids tell me, I took your advice and I'm so glad I did it, lets me feel more like a father. And I didn't really, like, I can't give advice when I'm in active addiction, and here's why. I'm living in guilt and shame so much that I don't feel like I have advice to give. So I feel like less than as a father, you know, and as a parent, it's really tough to feel that way. You know, it's terrible to feel that way. And today I don't have to. And I had some stuff happen, you know, mentally to me over the last couple of days that it's like these reminders of like, hey, you're still a piece of shit, you know, and I'm not. I was, or maybe not a piece of shit, but I wasn't great, you know. And the more and more I start to go through this journey, the less and less I'll feel like I was a piece of shit, you know. Not to that point where I like compare myself to like serial killers and stuff, but like I was just not a good person. You know, I still took care of my kids. And I made sure we weren't, you know, like on the streets or nothing, but I needed to go through that stuff. And, you know, I still battle with like my age, you know, and like I still battle with that. Because even if I start feeling better, that other side of my thinking will kick in and say, look, man, give it up. Give it up. You're too old. You know, I'm getting tattoos, and there's that thought in my head that's like, why are you doing that now? Like, you're almost 50. You know, and it's an insecurity where I feel like people make fun of me for that. You know, where they're like, this guy, like, look at him fucking getting tattoos. What a joke. You know, they're sitting back joking about it. And you know what? I'll tell you what. By doing it, I'm freeing myself from, even if people are saying that. It's my journey. This is my recovery. I'm doing this for myself. And so when I let fear of what other people think and say about me, whether they're doing it or even if they aren't, or even if they are, you know, if I stop doing it, I let fear control me. If I keep doing it, I'm looking at fear in the face and saying, fuck you. You don't own me anymore. You don't own me anymore. The important people in my life, my support system, the people that like care about me, we had a wonderful conversation after the meeting. And it made me feel really good about myself. Because like, I have friends that are real friends. Nothing, there's no like intentions, ill or bad. It's friendship that I've built. You know, somebody called me their brother today, and I don't think they realize how much that meant to me, you know, and how much it means to me to hear that, because they've been somebody for me in recovery they mean so much to me. You know, I say these phrases like I'd take a bullet for somebody. Fucking, to hear that person, like where I was bad, and I see them every week, you know, and now we're going to go on a hike. To hear them say that means a lot to me. And it's going to be like a couple people in recovery that we're going to go do this. And I'm really excited to do this. And like, also, like, I had some stuff happen, some things that were said that bothered me. And like, I bit my lip, I bit my tongue, and I didn't say what I normally would say, especially because of the situation that's going on. And I was able to be proud of myself for, you know, like, not like that first thought, that second thought, that third thought, that fourth thought, they were all wrong. And I was able to just, you know, calm the fuck down and not say what I wanted to say. Because like, what's important to me, like for me, here's what's important to me. Being available for people in recovery, reaching out to these guys. It's important to me that when I'm sitting there listening to my yoga bowls and a thought pops in my head, I act on it. It's important to me that I do that. Because one of them reached back out and said some stuff that, like, if I wouldn't have reached out, they wouldn't have said that, and I'll be able to be available if they need. The other thing is, this is why I'm clean today, because of these things. And when I look at the last year, and I look at where I was at a year ago, now this is 19 days, right? So this was right around that time where I had called and said, I can't, this is like the weekend. This is that weekend that made the difference. And even though, like, I didn't get clean the day that I said I needed to go in, I had this like fucking terrible 1 week binge that changed my life. It changed my life. Where I thought I was going to go in, I was going to be loaded when I went into treatment, and I wasn't able to get a bed. And then I finally was able to say never again, or no more, not today. And everything changed for me. This was that time period now. And that's probably why these thoughts are popping into my head. They're me coping with them. I had a conversation with somebody a couple days ago where they had told me, you know, you just forgive yourself and it all goes away. And for me, that's not how it works for me. It might work for them. And what works for me, and what works for other people works for other people. But what is working for me right now is working for me. And it may not work for me 6 months from now, or 3 months from now, or a year from now, but it's working for me today. And I don't have to argue with somebody on what needs to work or how it's going to work. What I need to do is just keep doing what I'm doing because it's working for me. And I'll keep moving forward, and I'll find that this might not be working for me now, but I'll change it. I'll adjust. It's a term, ready, fire, aim. I'm ready, so I'll keep taking these shots. And then as I look and see how they're working, I'll adjust. And then I'll continue to fire. Some people aim their whole lives and never take a shot. And I thought about that a long time ago, and I started changing it. And a long time ago means within the last year. And I'm coming up on a milestone that's a big deal. I keep downplaying it. It's a big fucking deal. You know, it is a big deal. It's an area that I never thought I'd get back to. And it's like right around the corner, and I'm about to go on this big hike that's supposed to be moderate, and moderate in the hiking world, I guess, is intense. And so I'm about to do another one with people in recovery that, you know, it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's becoming a hobby. And so I want people in my life that I do that with. And it doesn't have to be everybody in my life that I do it with, but it's becoming something that is part of me. And I'll look back, you know, when I'm sitting on my deathbed, and I will say, you know, you decided to stay clean. You decided to get clean. And so you started doing these things, working out as one of them. And it started with 20, this whole thing started with 20 push-ups, really 21. It started with me saying I'm going to change by working out. I never thought I'd be doing hiking. So I'll do 100 push-ups a day. And I went to do the second set of 20, and I couldn't do it. And I was crying, and I looked in the mirror, and I was defeated. And I said, you're too old now. You fucked your body up too much. Just give it up. And I did something different. I pushed myself differently. And I asked 2 people if they'd do it too. And they laughed at me. And they said, seriously? Okay, we'll do it. And then I started smaller. and it turned into this. And it wasn't about being able to do 100 straight, which I can do. It was about being able to accomplish a task. And it turned into like going to the gym, and that turned into, 6 days a week, twice a day. And then I had to tone that down, going to church, getting baptized, all this stuff, getting my house back, getting the lease renewed for another year, keeping my job, being number 1 or 2 on that board. Again, getting back to that, and rebuilding my relationship with Lainey, which I've done. She sent me the most amazing picture of Mr. Mustachio, which is this stuffed animal that Shayna had when she was little. It's a little hippo. This thing is older than Lainey. And she sent it to me. She said, "Look at what I have." And I said, "Mr. Mustachio," and my eyes got all teary-eyed, and I said, "Where did you find it?" And she says, "I've had it. I sleep with it every day. It reminds me of you. And so it's like I'm sleeping with you." And I just about fucking died. And it just goes to show that where I thought I was losing her, I've had her this whole time. And then Lucy walks in today. She's with her mom. Her mom's like fucking just being a great mom, taking care of these kids when I need her to do that. And I'm proud of her for her recovery, and she's like doing the right things, and we can communicate like friends, which I never thought would happen after everything. And she shines me off, and I'm like, "Why are you shining me?" And she laughed, and I said, "What, you don't love Daddy anymore?" She said, "No, I'm just messing with you." And I'm like, "Man, why am I taking this so serious?" I said, "Give me a kiss." And she's 6. Kisses on the lips are probably she's probably too little for that, and I just wanted to hold on to that. So she kissed me in the cheek, and that's what I'll ask for from now on. And she gave me a big old hug. My kids are getting older. So am I. She's not a baby anymore. They're not littles either. Grayson's lovey to me now, and he gives me hugs regularly now. And it's time for me to adjust for them too. And I've come to that realization that they're not littles, and that's okay. And I'm really happy that I am where I'm at, and I don't need to be depressed about it. And as things come into my head and it tells me this, and it's that negative thing, I'll work through it as I work through it, and remind myself that my higher power provided this thought in my head because I'm at the point in my life where I can handle it now. And I'll continue to grow. I'll continue to do these journeys, these adventures, and I am excited to see what year 2 has to bring for me. Because when I got to year 2 last time, it was just working steps and going to work and, making a good amount of money. And that's not what this is about. It's not just work anymore. It's journey. It's adventures. It's what's next. What's in store for year 2. Year 2 is going to be an adventure. Year 1 was finding out that I do adventures. Year 1 was designed for me to know that I can get to a year clean. It was designed for me to know that I can overcome even my water getting shut off, and trusting in my higher power. Year 1 was designed for me to have a relationship with my higher power and I was going to go through a relationship and it wasn't going to work, and I was going to lean on my higher power for that. And then it was also designed for me to make commitments and stick to them, personal commitments, external commitments. And it was designed for me to set a foundation for myself that you're becoming somebody that you didn't know you were, and you're not too old. And year one was designed for me to trust in my higher power more than ever. It started with a year ago now, to look up and say, fuck man, I need you, and I have nothing left. It completely got me to a point of being humbly asking my higher power for help. And I am truly grateful for this first year of recovery. And now I am excited for year two. We'll set the foundation for year 3, year 4, year 5. Just for today. I know that. But now I can look back and say this has been a journey. And the journey of recovery has no destination. It is consistent and it is a constant. And that constant will provide joy. It will provide a backstory. And it will give me the ability to really work through my steps and connect with my higher power, connect with my sponsor, and be somebody in recovery that I can be. Like, if I really want to be a sponsor one day, the real type of sponsor one day, I have a journey and a story that I can set a foundation for somebody, and I can say, this is the stuff I did that I recommend, and they're just suggestions. And maybe, just maybe, I can then pay it forward, or they can then pay it forward. But I needed this foundation. Year one was my foundation that I laid down for the house that I'm going to build, metaphorically speaking, for the rest of my life. And I'm excited for that. And so year one was the preface. It was not even chapter 1. It was the beginning of what this story is going to be. And I'm just grateful to have come to this realization of it. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. That's all I got.